Well, my water finally did break, and I'm like, all right, I'll just go to the hospital. It was too late. I waited too long. And I started having the desire to push my baby out when I was already home. So I told my boyfriend, you know what? I'm gonna just go in the closet, give me my yoga ball. I'm gonna just have the baby in the closet, catch the baby.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, y'all. I'm here with Maui. Maui is a 4-time author and a mother of 2. She has a dope platform and community on Instagram. Extremely hilarious. We've been having a conversation off air, just talking about her dog and just her views on a lot of different things. So, Maui, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for asking.
Okay, great. So you just had a daughter.
Yes.
How was that process for you, right? Because first of all, we were DMing back and forth, and I was like, yo, we supposed to do a live, right?
Yeah.
And I thought you were like, so 2 days before the live, you were like, yeah, I'm about to be due in like a couple of days. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, we have a live. I'm like, wait, we should push this live back because she about to have a baby. I'm thinking like, okay, let me just be courteous. I DM you. You're like, yeah, I had the baby already. I'm good. We could do the live. I'm like, bro, what you know what I'm saying? Like, so what was that like? What was that? Because I was talking to my girl about it. I'm like, yo, is that how it is for some people? She's like, yeah, some people just pop babies out and they good. Like, I was like, yo, that's why. So what was it like for you?
So what's so crazy, what's even more crazy than the fact that I was like, yeah, let's do the podcast, is the fact that I had my baby in my bedroom. So, and I was ready to go back to work and just do what I do maybe like 4 days later.
Oh, wow.
I feel like if you stay active during your whole pregnancy, outside of the fact God blessed me with no symptoms. So I didn't have symptoms.
What you mean by symptoms?
Like morning sickness, throwing up, like.
Oh, you didn't have that throughout the pregnancy?
I didn't have that. I didn't have that with my son either. So I was able to still maintain the regular lifestyle that I had with like going out, hanging out with my friends. Everybody that has children around me thought this was so funny. They was like, you don't act like a pregnant person. Like, why are you at Chuck E. Cheese with 3 kids? My son, my nephew. Even me going into labor I think it was a couple of days. I don't know when we did the episode, but my baby was definitely fresh.
When we did our episode. Yeah, it was like a couple. It was like, I don't even think she was a week.
Yeah, because she's only 3 weeks right now.
Yeah.
She's not even a month. So whenever it was definitely, she was probably, I don't know. But the process was so easy. And like your girl said, it's some people that just jump back into it. And I just was blessed to be one of those people. When when I start having contractions that day at 4:00, I'm like, oh my gosh, this hurts so bad. My girlfriend was like, are you gonna go to the hospital? I'm like, no, girl, I'm about to watch Coach Carter. So I prolonged, like, and then not only that, as I'm having contractions from 4, I start them at 4 and I have my baby at 2 a.m. I just think everything is such a joke that I'm calling my friends while I'm in the house having contractions. Like, the baby is coming, like I'm FaceTiming them hype, but I guess I got a high pain tolerance. So by the time I did decide that, all right, I'll go to the hospital because my water had, you can have contractions and your water hadn't breaking. Yeah. Well, my water finally did break. And I'm like, all right, I'll just go to the hospital. It was too late. I waited too long. And I started having the desire to push my baby out when I was already home. So I told my boyfriend, you know what? I'm going to just go in the closet, give me my yoga ball. I'm going to just have the baby in the closet. Catch the baby.
You serious?
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm looking at you like that because I thought, like, I'm thinking, I'll be on social media. So I'm thinking it was like a water birth or something. You had like a doula in there.
So I had the doula, but she came when the baby was, I had already pushed the baby out. She was on her way though. She was maybe like 4 minutes away. But.
So you had the baby in the closet.
Yeah. And my boyfriend thought I had to poop on myself. And I said, no, that's not the same feeling. It's not a feeling of poop. This is a feeling of a head. Please look. I think I feel a head down there.
So okay. I'm sorry. I'm like, whoa. Okay. You were having contractions.
And he took me out to eat too while I was having contractions.
Okay, so you were having contractions. This is a lot of information for me right now. I'm trying to process all this. Okay, you were having contractions, right? Mm-hmm. You have these contractions. You're like, you know what? I don't really feel like going to the hospital that much. It's not that big of a deal. By the time you're like, you know, I should actually go, you're like, dang, I need to push. So I don't want to go to the hospital right now. So, right. Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing is sometimes you having your contractions and you know you got to be 10 centimeters dilated to push. Sometimes you might be having contractions and you might be only 4 centimeters. The hospital will send you back home anyway. So that's why I felt comfortable with waiting. You got to be a certain amount of centimeters and the contractions have to be close, a certain amount of closeness for them to keep you.
Right.
So at that point, when I first had them, they was like 45 minutes apart. For the hospital to take you in, they got to be like 5 minutes apart. So I'm like,
so it was just you and your boyfriend in the crib?
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't scared? Because I feel like I would be so. I mean, I'm not the one having the baby, but I feel like he was scared.
I feel like when I start getting in positions of needing to push, you got to think like the whole time I'm having contractions, I'm giving myself affirmations. I'm not in here screaming and I'm telling myself I can handle, because contractions only last 60 seconds. So while I'm having them, I'm telling myself I can handle anything for 60 seconds. My body was made to do this. So I'm very calm.
You're giving yourself You're doing affirmations while you're having contractions.
And I'm breathing and I'm humming, and it wasn't this dramatic, chaotic thing that would make him super scared either, because I mean, affirmations, listening to jazz music. When the water break and I get out the shower and I also take a shower. Mm-hmm. When I do that, it puts me in active labor. And the active labor means that it's about to be time to push.
Right.
Now, my humming is louder. Like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. The affirmations are different. And it's more of a moaning sound.
Yeah.
And I just wrap my arms around his neck. Mm-hmm. And kind of like I keep squatting. Mm-hmm. Like, because your body literally is telling you what to do, because it's like pushing a baby down. And I go in my closet and I get my yoga ball and I lean over my yoga ball and I tell him to just please look. I don't, because he keeps saying I got to poop on myself. And he's trying to get me to go to the hospital, but I can't put my pants on. Every time I try to put my pants on, I squat down to feel like I got to push. Mm-hmm. And by the time I tried to get the other pant leg on, and I told him, just please look, like I promise you, I don't have to poop on myself. It's a head trying to come out of me, okay? He's on the phone with the doula, and she's saying, like, get her to put her pants on. I'm on my way. We're going to the hospital together.
And you're like, yeah, they both wrong.
He looks, he said, I think I see a head full of hair. Like, that's when he's just like, she's not making it to the hospital. And then he really believes me. Like, he's asking her, what should I do? She's like, get ready to catch the baby. Like, if you see a head full of hair, just stand there and get ready to catch the baby. Oh, and I leaned over my yoga ball and I pushed 2 times. And
he was good?
That was good. Because you got to think that the pushing is also taking the contraction away. So it wasn't nobody that was going to be able to tell me to stop pushing.
Right.
It's feeling good.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So what happened after that? Did y'all go to the hospital, get a baby check, all that good stuff? Like, what's the process after that? Because for someone that's like interested in having a baby at home, like, how does that work after?
So the goal was always to have a natural birth. Like, I was never going to get medication, but I wanted to do that in the hospital. I wanted to push in the hospital just in case my heart rate start dropping, the baby heart rate start dropping, or sometimes the babies get stuck when you're trying to push the baby out.
Right.
So after you have the baby, and with your placenta is still connected to the umbilical cord. So I can't stand up because the placenta is still inside of me.
Right.
I'm holding my baby, but her umbilical cord is still attached to my placenta.
Right.
I'm just sitting on a towel because your body will let you know when it's time for you to push your placenta out too.
Oh, so, really? How long does that process normally take after?
So maybe like 30 minutes later.
Okay.
In a hospital, much quicker because you are just a number and they want you in and out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, isn't it quicker in the hospital? Like, and isn't that kind of dangerous too?
Right. So another thing is I also wanted my baby to get all the vitamins and nutrients from my placenta. So that was also one of the plans anyway, for us to not immediately cut her umbilical cord. So I was really happy that I got to just sit there. I immediately start breastfeeding. I immediately did skin to skin with her. The first to touch her was her mom and her dad hands. The first faces that she saw were our faces.
Right.
So that made me so happy. And then the person that helped me through my whole pregnancy with even knowing to keep myself calm was a Black woman. So this whole experience of it just, I was in there crying, like holding my daughter, knowing that I did this, like the first hands that your dad brought you into this world. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after 35 minutes, I start feeling the contraction, and my doula told him it's time to help her push her placenta out. And he just gently pulled the cord to pull the placenta out of me. He had my favorite pot that I make my spaghetti in so that he could put the placenta in it because we ain't have nowhere to put it. He just gently pulled it out, not all rough like they in the hospital sometimes, or pushing all on your stomach to make it come out.
Right.
It's just it felt nasty, but it was such a just smooth, gentle transaction. We wrap her. We also don't clean our baby because the white stuff that your baby is covered in during birth protects her from bacteria. So we keep that on her, and we don't let the doctors wash her in the hospital either. We keep that all on her until we get home, and we wash her ourselves. So we get the baby dressed, and we put my placenta in a lunch bag with ice because I got my placenta encapsulated for me to take the pills. That helps with postpartum.
Okay.
Which might have been. I also kept taking vitamins, which might have been why I was ready to do a live with you.
Right. Yeah.
When we get to the hospital, the doctors are like, "Wait, what's under the blanket?" I'm like, "My baby." It is like, "What's in your lunch bag?" I'm like, "My placenta." When I tell you, the doctors in the hospital were cracking up. Like, a lot of them was like, "I've never had somebody have a baby home and come here with a placenta in a lunch bag and a baby in the blanket." It was like, most people might have the baby in a hospital parking lot. We ain't never have somebody come all the way home, didn't call the ambulance, drove here with the placenta in a lunch bag. So I feel like I'm definitely going to have a good story to tell on holidays.
Oh, absolutely. This is a great story. This is a absolutely amazing story. I was about to say, I definitely thought you was different, but now listening to what the people in the hospital were saying to you, I know for a fact that everything that you did was different. And not different in a bad way. Like, I think that's dope. So you talked about getting your placenta encapsulated.
Right.
So how many capsules was it that you ended up taking?
So far, I have a whole, like, my jar, it's a pretty bottle that they made for me, not the hospital. The hospital doesn't do that. And you have to also think that the hospital wants your placenta because it has a lot of stem cells that can help other people, like that get blood transfusions.
Listen, we don't care about that. We need that.
Yeah, right. But your baby needs this.
Yeah. We need that. What's up? So how do you go about what's the process? How you get your placenta encapsulated?
Well, I went to a company that our doula recommended me to that does this.
Okay.
And I only took a few capsules. At this point, it's more of a keepsake for me because I didn't feel like I was suffering from postpartum, and I didn't want to start taking the pills. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I feel really good.
Right.
I didn't want to start taking something and I start having some.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I didn't. And it's not expensive to do. A lot of people feel like, "Oh, I'm not taking my." It doesn't taste like nothing. It tastes like a
regular pill, which is nothing. Yeah.
Which is nothing. Your pills don't take. It doesn't have a weird, strange smell or anything like that. Yeah, but it's supposed to help you with postpartum, and especially with your hormones dropping so low after having a baby, especially a daughter, because you carrying your hormones and hers. So a lot of people will have strong side effects after birthing a daughter because now you're carrying two female hormones.
Right.
But that process was super easy. I think they got me my placenta back in the capsules maybe like 3 days later, 2.
Oh wow. Okay. Man, do you recommend the company?
Yes, they were really, really nice. And I had made sure I posted them. It's called Lancaster Placenta Co on Instagram.
Okay. Listen, y'all heard it here. Go get your placenta encapsulated. Fellas, if you listening, y'all are getting a lot of game. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I didn't even.
People that eat it.
You said there's people that eat it after, like, straight.
No, not straight after, but there's some people that put it in their smoothies. Like, they do a lot of stuff with it, but I'm not into that. I don't want to eat it like that.
In the smoothie, I don't know. I'm a smoothie guy. I ain't gonna lie.
Smoothies.
I like smoothies. I just don't know. I don't know about the placenta in a smoothie.
The way the placenta look, I don't know how it tastes, but if I had to guess how it tasted, it would taste like liver.
You've had liver before? I've never had liver.
Yeah, liver tastes like muscles, like a muscle, like just
thick.
thick meat. Like I imagine it tasting like liver, and liver is disgusting.
Okay.
I would cry when my grandma would make me eat liver.
Oh, wait, what kind of liver you ate?
Like she would make liver rice and gravy.
From what animal?
Who knows?
You don't even know?
No, I'm like maybe a cow. I don't know. I don't think they tell you what animal the liver came from.
They don't. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I just know. Okay.
It'd probably be a cow. I don't think it would be a pig liver.
Yeah, it probably was a cow then. Now that I think about it. Damn, son.
It definitely disgusting though.
Let me ask you a question. So now you have 2 kids, right? And you transitioning in the sense of like post-pregnancy. You have a little baby girl. You have a son. How has that process been for you? And also, what are some lessons that you took from having your son that you kind of are implementing now with your daughter?
So I feel like this process, for one, I feel like me and her dad has made this process so easy for me. And I love the fact that I'm at a different place in my life to be so mindful of the partner that I'm creating life with.
Right.
My dog back there making that noise.
I know. The dog you love?
I don't like that dog. Don't call Peter on me though. The main thing that my son taught me everything I know about being a mom. And I feel like my main thing now has been to just love on my son more, to not make him feel like she pays so much attention to the new baby. Because my baby, I breastfeed her. She gonna get her attention.
Right.
Every 2 hours, she gonna get her love. Okay.
Right.
But my son, he's 8, and it been me and him for so long.
Right.
I didn't want him to feel like, and we do everything. We catch flights together. We go out to dinner together. Like, I didn't want him to feel like, well, ever since the baby came,
you've been acting different.
You've been acting real different.
Yeah. Didn't you say that's the reason why he didn't want you to have another kid? Because he said that he thought, was that what it was?
He felt like I would be acting different and stuff, but now he feels like I can't have no more. Him and his sister
that's it.
That's what it needs to be.
But you want more though, right? You were saying that on the live the other day.
I want more kids, but my son was in the background saying no.
Yo, he's jokes.
He was yelling in the background, no, you don't need no more. But I feel like loving on my son more, being graceful with her dad, knowing that this is your first time doing this, like you're not gonna have everything right. Being graceful with him and not talking at him or talking like I know everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like one of the biggest things of my journey being easy, and I say this all the time, the fact that it's so many people that got to do this alone, or so many people who have to do this and go back to work.
Right.
Like I work from home. I'm not doing this by myself. And it's times where it's hard for me because I'm just sleepy. But it's people that's doing all of this by themselves. So like I take my hat off to them because I'm learning to just be graceful with myself, be patient. Another thing is, if there's any woman that be tuning into your podcast, I'm definitely gentle with myself when it comes to me snapping back physically. Whereas with my son, I really obsessed about snapping back and being the size I was when I had my baby. I'm graceful with myself and understand that I just carried a baby for 9.5 months.
Right.
I'm also using my body to feed my baby for another I'm about to be doing this for another year. Giving myself grace that whatever I show up with this summer, whatever kind of stomach is a stomach that births children, and not only births any kind of children, but it births children naturally up in her bedroom. Okay.
Right.
So
on a yoga ball.
Facts. Allowing myself to be consumed by the pressure of the world of I need to be snapping back, or this is 4 weeks postpartum. No. I'm still kind of looking a little pregnant, but it's okay. It's fine. And there's
nothing wrong with that, right? Like social media creates this narrative that everybody's gonna snap back within a certain amount of time, but everybody's body's different.
Right.
And some people
body is different.
And some people never snap back to the place with that they were at before. And that should be okay too, right? Like we need to normalize people having regular bodies, because I feel like a lot of these people that snap back, not saying snapping back is impossible, right? But a lot of people that snap back are people that were like really super physically active, and also like they really like genetic wise, like they got it. Like a lot of people got it like that. So it's like, bro, we can't make that the standard for every pregnant woman, because then that's when you get into that body dysmorphia category and people hating their body and all these different things, right? And so
social media do not make it easy. And I will say that after having my baby, I did lose a lot of weight. Like I do got a little stomach, and it's definitely not bad to me. And how I was prior to being pregnant is bad to me. But other people feel like, girl, what?
You good.
But it's like what you said, I stayed active through the whole pregnancy. Like I walked the whole time. It's some people who, I did that because I wasn't sick. It's some people who can barely get out of bed because they're throwing up. They can't eat anything. Like it's some people that got high blood pressure during pregnancy. It's some people who developed diabetes during pregnancy. It's so many different situations. Whereas though I removed myself from the pressures of having to look a certain way for other people, I feel good about myself. And my man still acts like he loved me. So as long as everybody in this house love me, I don't care about what Instagram is telling me I need to look like, because
yeah, and that's yo, telling you, bro. That's why when I think about it, I was talking about this the other day. I don't know if I said it on your live, where we were talking about people like looking at these Instagram couples and trying to like model their relationship off these Instagram couples. I'm like, bro, listen, that don't work for everybody. And half the time these Instagram couples be fronting. You know what I'm saying? Like they really be fronting for the bag because they understand that content generates engagement and money.
Right. Some of these couples make so much money that they can't leave the relationship. Okay.
Right. Which is toxic in itself.
Right. Because there's no job that pays this good as and they are just forcing themselves to be somewhere that they really don't want to be. And a lot of people is with people that they don't like as a person. So
yeah,
I'm not doing this with these people.
Nah, absolutely. And so you talked about something earlier where you talked about not talking at your partner and like giving him grace, especially since this is his first kid. And I remember during our live, you talked about in the past, you used to talk at your partner a little bit. So can you explain what you mean by talking at? Because I feel like a lot.
I wasn't specifically talking.
Not him. Yeah, I know. I mean,
I was talking at people.
Okay? Yeah. You don't want to go back there?
For example, you can't do nothing right. See, you can't communicate. Like a big thing that I learned in relationships, and I tell my friends all the time when they telling their partners that trying to get their partners to communicate better. You telling your partner, say that's why you can't communicate properly. You act like that's not making somebody want to communicate better at all. It's actually making them want to shut down and continue to not communicate with you. That was me. Okay. You don't do nothing with me. We don't never go out. You don't take me nowhere. Now, if I want to go out with my man, I say, babe, we've been having so much fun binge watching TV shows in the house. We need to switch it up. I think we should go out this weekend. I'm complimenting what we've done and letting you know I appreciate this. But here's another idea that also includes both of us, and I'm not blaming anybody.
Right.
Now, if I would have went about it how I normally go about it, you don't do nothing for me. We don't go nowhere. This relationship's so boring. Not making him want to go nowhere.
Absolutely not.
When the basis of the problem is that I just want to spend quality time with you in a different environment. That's it. And a lot of the times we talk at people or we can't say how we truly feel just because we're hurting inside. So by you hurting, you're irrational. So most of the time when we're arguing, we're not even saying what the real problem is. What we're saying never makes sense. And he tells me this sometimes. Stay on topic. You don't make sense right now. Stay focused. Because your emotions is just everywhere. So I know sometimes I'm not making sense. Sometimes I gotta slow down and stay on track because I know I start not making sense. And I could just see like with me talking to my partners, I wasn't a safe space. I wasn't a space a person that they wanted to communicate with. I also wouldn't see any type of changes. Like me talking at people was never working in my favor, but it was just what I knew. It's all I knew how to do. So
where did you get that from?
My mama. Let me not blame everything on my mom. My grandma.
Blame everybody. Blame everything on
your
whole
family.
Yeah, that's what we like.
They taught my mama. So blaming my whole family.
Nah, it's true. We gotta also take some personal accountability, which you're doing as well. But a lot of this, the reason why I asked is because a lot of it does come from parents, right? Like I was talking to Dr. Tori, she's an expert on ACEs, average childhood experiences, and we were talking about how she communicates with her kids, and she was saying how this podcast episode is out right now, and she was saying how she used to yell a lot at her kids, and then she got into therapy, And her therapist was kind of trying to help her to work through that yelling, because she would yell at her kids and her kids would cry. And so she was like, yeah, that's probably not the best way. Her therapist was like, yeah, that's probably not the best way for you to, communicate with them, because they're probably not that receptive to it. And when they worked on the root of where that came from, she was like, yeah, that's all I knew growing up. Like, that's what my mom used to do. And so that's what got passed down to me. And so she finally got to the point where she realized, like, yo, the yelling doesn't work. And she decided to talk to them in a more soft, like, in like empathetic manner. And that's helped her in communicating with them. And so I always want to ask people, like, okay, where do you feel like that parenting style, and not even necessarily the parenting style, but just that communication style came from? Because a lot of times it does come from our parents. And you were talking about, like, saying you. Like, one thing I heard a lot when you were talking about, like, talking at people is I heard you a lot. People don't understand using the word you is very confrontational. It puts people in a defensive mode, right? And I even have to learn this too, because sometimes I get on my, I get on YouTube and I'll talk about y'all ain't doing this and y'all blah blah yada yada. And like, what I'm saying is factual, right? But because I'm making it y'all, it feels like I'm bashing people, right? And so that you can be very confrontational. Instead, what you did was we've been doing this and blah blah, we could do this. And what you also did was you led with a compliment. People don't understand. Like, I read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that's the name of it. It's a great book on, like, communicating with people and how to get people to do things, not in a manipulative way, but just, how to speak to people and talk to people. Right. And one of the things it said is, like, if you're trying to ask somebody to do something, or you're trying to get somebody to do things, one of the great ways to, like, help somebody to get to a point where they are level with you and feel comfortable doing things is to compliment them first. Like, and not on some, like, again, not some manipulative, like, you're just saying a compliment just to say, just because so you want to get to where you want to get to, but really an actual compliment, which is, yo, I'm enjoying time binge watching this series, but maybe we could do this. Right. And that's what my girl does too. And I'll be like, damn, you know what, babe? You're right. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the manipulative way. Like, when my son comes and says, "Mommy, you so beautiful. Can I have Fortnite V-Bucks?" It's like, that's the manipulative way. Okay.
Right.
The fact that whatever your girlfriends compliment you with is probably really true. But most of us are not thinking to say what's really true. We're trying to get what we want done. So I definitely, majority of the time when I'm talking to my partner or getting him to do what I need him to do, I literally, especially him, like, I'm always buttering him up with leading with compliments.
And you, yeah, go ahead.
He needed it. Affirmations is not even his love language, but
he like compliments.
The compliment just make him more productive.
Right. So, okay, you talk about his love language. What is his love language then? And what is yours? And does it match? My love language is affirmations. Okay. I like gift giving. And I feel like we need all of them, just at different intense levels. Yeah. Okay. That's the first time I've heard somebody say that, but that's facts though.
Yeah, I feel like people be like, I don't need gifts. Okay. I'm not getting you nothing for your birthday, and then you're crying. It's just different intense levels. My affirmation level is so intense that the small acts of kindness could get neglected sometimes, because how much I just love people telling me how wonderful I am. So small acts of kindness, and affirmations, and I like the gift giving. I'm not even gonna lie, and the quality time. Whereas though my partner, I don't know the levels, but I know top 2 is quality time, physical touch, and he does like gift giving. Quality time, physical touch. I'm not even going to say gift giving. I'm going to say the small acts of kindness, because it doesn't matter what kind of gift. I could bring him socks. I brought him a pack of underwear from Marshall's yesterday. He was appreciative and happy. I show my love through gifts. I apologize through gifts. So the quality time and the physical touch is not hard because we live together. But my partner also plays basketball overseas, and he just came back because I had my baby. It was so hard for me to show my love to him without being around him, because of his love language being quality time and physical touch, and me knowing in small acts of kindness. He likes me rubbing his feet, me making food for him, like bringing him the food. Like, you see what I'm saying? He likes to act like King Tut. So for us to be long distance, I feel like it's so important that you think of creative ways to cater to your partner's love language.
Yeah.
That you can still cater to them even if they wasn't around you.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to cater to them when he was playing basketball for those
Right.
5 months.
Right.
I'm like, how can I can't just say I love you all day. Like, this is hard for me. Like, whereas though I'm getting fulfilled because he's telling me that he loved me on the phone and talking to me and stuff. And this is what I like, and this is fine.
Right, right. So how did y'all work through that then?
The beginning was so rough, like crying every day, like just not feeling you don't love me. And because with the you, like you said, I kept telling him like my love languages are being neglected. I need more validation because your partner is in Romania. Like you're going to feel like, what are they doing? Like we're on a 7-hour difference. So a lot of the times when I want to talk, you going to bed. Like, you see what I'm saying? Damn. For me to have good conversations with him, I would start having to wake up at like 4 a.m. So and that's the afternoon for him, like probably like 12 or something. So for me I was starting my days at 4 just to be able to talk to him. And it was so hard. And I feel like what was making it so hard is I kept complaining about how my love languages is neglected and how I don't feel loved with you over there. And I'm pregnant, I'm this and I'm this and I'm this. And I never said like, well, how do you feel? Like this is your first child. You missing half of the ending of my pregnancy. Like you're afraid that you might miss the birth. I never asked or even considered how you may be feeling because of how I felt. And I feel like once I start putting more consideration into how he felt, it was easy for us to understand each other more. And also like giving each other the space of not calling each other all day because I don't have nothing to talk about. And I feel really good now with not feeling guilty about, I don't call my partner and just sit on the phone and listen to them breathe no more. And I'm okay with, I'm not the best talker. And he would make me feel bad. He'd be like, you don't even got nothing to talk about. You know what? You're right. So with that being said, I'm going to hang up. Okay. As a person that's almost 30, I think it's okay for me to hang up the phone. You know what? I'll call you a little later when a little bit more action happens throughout my day. And it's not him being smart, or it doesn't mean that he doesn't love me. It doesn't mean that he's about to do something sneaky or something else. It just simply means he would rather focus on playing 2K than being on the phone with somebody who is breathing. Okay. Which is me.
Bro,
I'm a big talker on the phone.
Bro, I swear to God, in my last relationship, this was one of the reason why I'm laughing so hard right now is because this was one of the main problems, because we did long distance, right? And she was in Arizona, I was in Massachusetts, and I get off work. So I work from like maybe like 7 to 4 or something like that, right? Or 7 to 3. And I get off work and I'm like getting off work and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get home and just chill. And this is the time she calling me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck, man. And we get on the phone. We've already talked in the morning. You know, we talked the day before. I already know what happened the day before. I already kind of know what's happening today because we talked last night. Right. So we talking after my work, and we just on the phone like, there ain't nothing to talk about. It's like, okay, what you doing? Oh, you know, I'm driving back home. What you doing? Oh yeah, I got back home. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like, bro, because I already know everything else. She's like, well, you don't create conversation, and I always gotta leave. I'm like, bro, I know everything that's going on, bro.
It look at me like,
what's happening? What are we creating conversation about? I'm good. I'm good. Please let me go home and wash my lunch dishes and let me chill, bro. But that used to be the argument all the time. We don't FaceTime enough. This is long distance. Don't you want to make this work? We not on FaceTime enough. I'm like, bro, we on FaceTime all the time. I feel like we never off of FaceTime.
Right. And I feel like once I stopped calling like that, we had more to talk about because I'm not calling you and texting you all throughout the day and letting you know what's going on in my life. I was saving it for a nighttime.
Facts. And those conversations be spicy and entertaining.
Hey, then I could recap you on the whole day. Like,
yes, give me the tea, all of that, bro. So, oh my God. I'm glad you said that, man, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. They feel like giving their partner space somehow means that their partner loves them less. Right.
And I also feel like us as women, there's some women who are walking around with baggage from past relationships, or maybe like something that happened in the relationship that they're in right now, that they think if I give you space, then you're going to use this space to do something deceitful. Like you're going to use it to do something else. And that's why even when some people be like, it's a lot of people who say, I don't believe in breaks. And it's like, you don't believe in like not even nothing? No, we fix it right here together. And it's like, I'm a married couple, okay? Like, and it's like, no, because breaks mean you want to cheat. And I'm like, I'm suffering from depression, okay? I can't even love myself right now. Jeez. You think I want to hump something? That is like not what I'm thinking about.
Yo, you are so funny, bro. Oh my God, man. I'm
sad inside. And it's like, you think this is about a girl. Oh, you just want to talk to other girls. And it's like, what? I'm walking around with this gray cloud over my head. I don't know why. And you're sitting here laying next to me, wanting me to tell you what do I love the most about you. We need space.
I ain't gonna lie. I've been the person, when you were just saying that, I was laughing, thinking about my past. So I've been the person that was like, I don't believe in breaks. And the reason why is because it came from personal trauma. Because the relationship I was in before, when we got on a break, we broke up. So for me, I always would say breaks lead to breakups. Like we basically 3 letters away. You know what I'm saying? So my thought process was like, as soon as we break, we basically breaking up. So we're not breaking because I don't want to break up with you because I have this anxious, insecure, like preoccupied, anxious, insecure attachment style.
Right.
And so that leads me into my next question. We're talking about attachment styles on a live too. And you kind of dived a little bit into your attachment style.
You remember what mine was?
I do remember. I remember vividly. It was fearful avoidant, right?
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah. So tell people how that manifests and like how it manifested for you in your relationship. Do you remember?
I don't know where this came from, but I think that like somewhere I used to come in naive into relationships. Like, you know, like when we like somebody, like we are enjoying like the honeymoon stage and stuff like that. I eventually, like in adulthood, I didn't come in like that. Like I started coming in that this is going to be fucked up. Like I'm going to fuck it up somehow. And I don't want you liking me. I don't want to like you either. And something bad is going to happen.
Really?
So
let me pause you real quick. That would happen in adulthood, not when you were younger.
No, and when I was younger, I would have boyfriends all the time. I would just feel like.
Did you have a bad experience with one of those boyfriends where it made you feel like you did something wrong, and maybe that's the reason why it kind of turned into that when you got into adulthood?
I definitely feel like in a relationship that I was in, I felt like nothing that I did was good enough for them. And I was with a person where as though like they needed breaks because they would be depressed and stuff like that. And I know how bad it would make me feel, like not knowing how to show up for them, not knowing how to make them happy. Like it was just an energy exchange of like, I was feeling everything they was feeling by trying to help them. Instead of giving them the space, I'm calling all the time. I'm checking on them all the time when I really probably needed to leave them alone.
Right.
So I'm in this relationship where now I become the punching bag for a lot of what they're going through, and they projected it on me because I'm not giving them the space that they need. Right. And I'm the closest person to them. So I'm always getting that short end of the stick of what they feel. So I definitely feel like probably after that relationship is probably when it started happening.
Don't you see how that connects though? Like how those dots kind of connect? Like you feeling like you weren't enough in that relationship, like you weren't doing enough.
I would even like, if you were the same zodiac sign as them. And you know, we was talking about the whole zodiac thing. I went through that phase too.
Don't get me.
Assuming that I can't talk to you because you're just a zodiac sign. It's just no.
Oh my God.
Like when someone be like, no. I just couldn't do it.
Bro. Listen, fellas. As soon as she start asking you about the zodiac sign, I'm not saying cut and run, but I'm saying you need to be a little concerned.
I knew that it was an issue when we were in Detroit for a poetry show, and one of the poets was like, Maui, like, you are so like you got so many great qualities. Why aren't you in a relationship? I'm like, coaches don't play. And they like, no, Maui, be for real. I'm like, I don't want to be accountable for somebody else's emotions. And like, it's a bunch of guys in the car. They're looking like, well, that was a really masculine kind of answer for a girl. And when I remember my friend asking me, like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't feel like somebody saying like, oh, you do too many shows, or I miss you, you don't spend time with me. Like, I was just thinking of all these negative things that would happen of me being with somebody and trying to do what I love. I blamed it on, I just want to focus on what I love to do. I can't do both. I never was thinking I'm going to get cheated on or anything like that though.
Really?
I just was thinking of all the things that I'm going to do to ruin the relationship. Like, and I'm not going to be good enough for them. I was never thinking like, oh, these guys be cheating, they be lying or anything.
Right.
I was thinking that I wouldn't be good enough, and somehow, some way I wouldn't be able to show up for them the way they needed me to.
Right.
So
let me ask you, how have you worked on that? Like,
so one thing that I will say is, and from that relationship, something I will always do in a lot of my relationships is, if you know, like if something is bothering your partner, you can feel it and you'll be like, yo, what's wrong?
mm-hmm.
Like, and they'll be like, oh, nothing, but you could feel that it's something wrong.
Yeah.
I would sit in your face and be like, tell me what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm creating an issue because now I'm getting on your nerves. Like, because even if what's bothering you don't got nothing to do with me, you got somebody in your face that you just told nothing was wrong to, and she won't leave you alone.
Right. Yep.
Something that I do now in my partner, in my relationship, is if I feel like something is bothering him, I ask, what's bothering you? You say nothing. I'm very confident that I'm loving you to the best of my ability, and how I know how that whatever is bothering you has absolutely nothing to do with me, and you will communicate that with me. I don't sit in people's face. You say nothing is wrong, I'm taking your word for it. It better be the truth, because I'm going to the next room, because the energy around here doesn't feel good. But I wouldn't force myself. I don't force myself on people no more. Like, there's something I don't do.
Right.
I do like what we talked about on the live that we did. I do check-ins with my partner of like, how do you feel? Like, are you happy here? Like, I had asked my partner the other day, like, since being home, like, have you been happy? Is there anything that you feel like we could get better at in the relationship? No. Like, and I told him what has been making me happy, what I feel like we should work on, and being more open to criticism also, and not feeling like if my partner tells me that it's something I need to work on, then that means that if I don't work on this or get better at this, he's going to go find somebody else to be with and he's going to cheat on me. Or no, I'm open to criticism. I don't feel like they're attacking me. I actually am appreciative, because I feel like if your partner is telling you something that you need to work on, it's because they want to work on it with you. I feel like when they don't tell you is when they're cool with seeking it somewhere else. So I feel like just being more open, allowing somebody to, I know that before in the other relationships, when people would try to tell me what I needed to work on, I definitely would feel attacked. I definitely would feel like I had to protect myself and defend myself. And it would make me feel like I wasn't good enough. That me needing to work on my communication better or anything doesn't mean I'm not good enough for my partner. It doesn't mean that they don't love me or they don't want to be with me or they settle in or anything like that. Doesn't mean we're going to break up. So I feel like that was the biggest thing that I needed to learn. And I feel like sometimes in other areas of my life, I'm constantly battling this being good enough feeling sometimes. And I feel like when you put a lot of expectations and pressure on yourself, sometimes you want to be perfect in every area and you just want to. Yeah. So I feel like sometimes my attachment style that fear has probably trickled over into, I need to be the best author. I need the best poet, the best mom, the best partner. Like I'm going above and beyond for my son, for my man. Like I'm just such an extremist of just love everybody.
What about Maui?
Right. And it's like, I do feel like I have my self-care Sundays that I'm very non-negotiable about. And I feel like with me knowing how much I love other people, because it's been a lot of times where Maui get neglected. Maui has gotten the short end of the stick and she has not prioritized herself. I don't feel guilty about my self-care Sundays and how they are non-negotiable, and how I don't want to talk to people, and how I don't have to explain my boundaries or my need for space. Because I know how much I'm willing to love other people and how much I give on a day-to-day basis. And me knowing that me taking this one day for myself and doing whatever I want to do with it, whatever I don't feel like doing, it allows me to recharge my battery to show up to give the 100% to everybody else. So, and it feels good for me. So I know with me being selfish in that capacity, when I'm done on Monday morning, I'm 100% taking my son to school every morning and breastfeeding my daughter every 2 hours as she needs, because she's just hungry 2 hours later, and making my man food, because clearly people cook dinner every day. I didn't know that. We Uber Eats tonight though. Tonight Uber Eats. I know that me being selfish allows me to recharge so that I could show up for other people, but I know I got to show up for me first. It gives me the energy to show up for people the way that they need me to show up.
Nah, that is a fact. So you said a lot just now, but a couple of things that I really wanted to highlight was when you talked about dealing with your fearful avoidant attachment style. the theme that I heard was just finding confidence in who you are and what you bring to the table, right? And I hate to use bring to the table because, you know, that's kind of been played out on social media, but seriously, we're finding confidence in who you are, because a lot of it was you feeling inadequate. And so that would lead to you trying to overcompensate in a relationship and do all these different things, right? And then also you allowed your partner to be responsible for their well-being, right? Because what you do is now, yo, what's up? And if they say nothing, it's like, all right, cool, I'm out of here. Feel me? That's all I needed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, as long as it's not me, right? And I think a lot of times we make things, because we're with people, we assume everything has to deal with us because we're with this person. It's like, yo, bro,
it might not have nothing to do with you.
Bro, they got their own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could have went to work and some coworker was annoying. You know, they could have
been the boss. They could have been somebody in traffic.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, could have been a mom, a dad, a friend. It could be all these different things. And it may not just be that. And at that time may not be the right time to have that conversation. So it's important that we understand that, yes, while we're with these people, that we're not the only thing that's happening in their life.
Right.
Man, so many gems.
I don't want to be the only thing that's happening. But another thing that I feel like I needed to point out that you brought up with proving myself is getting into this relationship with my partner and as far as bringing things to the table. I feel like before him, I was celibate and I dated myself for a while. I just wanted to be alone. I just wanted to date myself, and I didn't want to have sex with nobody either. Okay. Just me showing up for myself. Coming into this relationship, I was so confident with what I brought to the table that I had no desire to show anybody that I was dating what I brought to the table. So I wasn't somebody that you would call your homies and be like, yo, I met this girl, and I wasn't doing nothing miraculous besides being myself. Like, so I was dating other people because at this point I'm properly dating, and I'm really just trying to see who I'm compatible with and got chemistry with. So I'm dating properly. At the end of the day, I'm not having sex with nobody. So I'm just dating. And I ask my boyfriend all the time, like, well, what did you like about me? Because I've always overextended myself. Like, I always wanted the people I was dating to see, like, oh, like, are you hungry? I'll bring you lunch to your job. Like, what did you do? I've always been just an overly nice girl. Like, and this time around, it was just like 4-time relationship author, nothing to prove to anyone.
It's Maui. You're gonna take me as I am,
and you'll see the perks when we're in a relationship or get serious or something like that.
Right.
So, and he would be like, well, you was a girl. Like, the things that he liked about me was me being a good mom, like how much I loved my business and how much energy I put into my business. Like, me being like fun, or like me being like easy to talk to. It was never anything where as though I overextended myself or I convinced you to want to be with me. Right. When we start getting serious, I was anxious to like go out my way for him and do something, because I can do these things. But I wanted to do it for somebody that he had been bringing me every Wednesday. He had been coming to my house and bringing me flowers and stuff. He was overextending himself and being a great gentleman to me. And I was being appreciative. I wasn't like just making him feel like I didn't like him. Like, I was definitely being appreciative. But I remember like he got a fitness business, like where they sell sports clothes. And he was talking about how they needed a camera. And I remember on our 1-month anniversary, I had told him that I needed to go to Best Buy to pick something up. And I had asked him to run in the store for me, and it was a digital camera for his business. And that was the first time that I could overextend. It was because it was somebody who had showed me how much they were interested in me, how much they liked me, how much they wanted to be around me and stuff like that. And I was just sitting here like, I have nothing to bring to the table. Not even vagina, because I'm still not even having sex at this point.
Nah, listen, man. First of all, there's a couple of things that I love about this, man. I'm sitting here smiling ear to ear. What I love about when you tell these stories, you're literally smiling, like you're basically blushing, like when you talk about your boyfriend. I love that, because that shows how much you actually like. You guys, you love him, like it's genuine. Like, yeah, like I like that. I love that. And then another thing is that you talked about not overextending. How often do we hear about people overextending? And then the reason why overextending isn't good is because, like, what ends up happening is that you have to keep up that pace a lot of times, right? And like that could be difficult too, right? Especially for dudes that overextend, because what happens is, like, women are like, look, y'all clock a lot of stuff, right? Like for us, like if y'all overextend and y'all do certain things, like, And then certain things kind of die down over time. Be like, it's not that big of a deal. But for like, I feel like on the flip end for fellas, if we overextend and we set this tone in a relationship, a lot of times y'all will clock that and be like, okay, this is what the tone is supposed to be. Like, this is the speed that we at.
This
right?
What you did for me in the beginning.
Right, exactly. Right. Like,
Right.
And so when you get to that point where you like, damn, man, I'm kind of tired, or you kind of slowing down, it's like, nah, you acting different. What's up? Right. And so you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're like, it's great to court. Courting is important, but court to your capacity, right? Like court and do things that you can keep up. Like I buy my girl flowers all the time. I still buy her flowers now, and I've always courted with buying flowers. But I knew when I was courting, I could do this long term. Like I'm good. I could buy flowers. I can go to the grocery store all the time. Flowers in the grocery store. I'm good. I could pick up some flowers. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing stuff that's actually like doable for me. Like if you sitting there cooking 5 days a week,
you really 5-star dinner dates.
You know what I'm saying? Like you really gonna do that? Think about stuff that you really gonna do throughout the relationship when you courting, because if you courting and doing things that aren't feasible throughout the relationship, she has a right to kind of feel some kind of way when the relationship starts and you stop doing those things. So do things that are definitely feasible, man.
And don't be afraid to switch it up. Another thing is I feel like with y'all men, when it comes to y'all courting and y'all dating, I definitely feel like tap into more creative ways for people to get to know y'all for who y'all are. Because when I met him, it was during COVID. One of our first dates was him taking me to Lowe's for me to buy a plant and become a plant mom. And he brought me this shirt that said plant parent. He had to be creative. But if you would have led with material things, you never want a person to love you for what you do for them.
Right.
Like, and that's why they like you. And I feel like a lot of men end up in those situations with women. We fall in love with what you can do for us. Right. Because y'all court so hard in the beginning, or y'all go so hard in the beginning that we fall in love with the fact that you picked us up in the bins and you've been taking us to 5-star dinner dates all week. I don't even know that you funny. You ain't even leave. You ain't even leave with that, because that would have been something good to leave with, because I like to laugh. But no, you took me to go get crab cakes, which I also love. So you definitely don't want nobody falling in love with you for shallow reasons. Like
definitely create space for you to be authentic to who you are. Like I think social media does a good job of showing us all these material things that people think is courting and what a relationship should look like, but it doesn't show us how to be authentic, because a lot of that is us having to figure that out, right? And so do things that are authentic to you, man. Like if you like basketball, maybe y'all should go watch a game together or something like that. Like, or do things if you feel like you don't want to spend a bunch of money, then maybe y'all do a picnic day or something like that. Like there's a lot of dudes that don't want to, like we talk about this all the time. Oh man, I don't want to spend all this money on her. All this blah, blah,
but y'all don't be creative. Be creative.
Oh yeah, like when I hear people talk about I don't want to spend money, I'm like, okay, first thing I'm thinking to myself, you're just not creative, because there's a lot of free dates that you could do that will be fire. That's better than going to a 5-star restaurant with small portion sizes.
Taking a walk and sitting by the water somewhere is romantic.
Very romantic. A lot of and we're not even gonna get into the femininity conversation, because
that'll be a whole nother episode.
Yeah, that'll be a whole nother episode. But yeah, man, tap into other ways that you could be creative when you're dating, especially if you don't want to spend a bunch of money, and especially if you want to be authentic to who you are, so that you're not getting a relationship, or someone's not getting a relationship with you for who they think you are. And then when they get into the relationship with you, they're like, what the hell? This is not what was happening when we was courting.
They holding you to that unrealistic standard, like what you said. Like I wouldn't mind buying flowers all the time.
Yeah, flower, exactly. I don't mind. And I still to this day buy flowers. And I was giving game out on how to take care of flowers, because I actually like buying flowers. Like it's cool. I buy the flowers for her, but at this point I be taking care of the flowers for myself. Like I'm like for real. Like I be buying it for her, but I take care of it so it looks good in the crib, because she don't really take care like that. So I like buying flowers, man.
The flowers look so, it adds like a pop of life to the house when on the
table. Yeah, flowers and plants, right? Like that's why. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be buying plants eventually, man. Man, this has been
like life here.
Yeah, this has been a really, really good conversation, Maui. I really appreciate you being here. Can you please tell the people where they can find you, how they can support all that good stuff?
They can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter, wherever they want to go at Maui_W, MAUI_W. It is the same on every last platform to make things easy for people.
Okay. What books do you have? I know you're a 4-time author.
Yes, my current book, which is my favorite book, and also one of the best short story relationship books that they will ever read in their life.
Mhm.
It's called So Much To Unlearn. And it's basically about, it's different short stories of different women with quotes and advice on the things that we unlearn to be in healthy relationships. A lot of things that we don't realize that we're doing in our relationships, like overextending ourselves or creating boundaries or letting people go or red flags. I talk about all those things in my book in more of a humorous way.
Yeah.
I don't want them to think that like it's going to be like textbook style. It's definitely curse words and my natural personality in it.
Right. Yeah. I love that. Where can they get that?
They could get that on my Instagram page, or they could get that at mauithewriter.com.
Listen, I love it, Maui. Thank you so much for dropping in. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yo, I'm excited, man. We're currently building the exclusive community, and it's going to have so many dope features. We're partnering with a Black organization to offer low-cost therapy to each member of the exclusive community. And when I say low cost, I mean that members will be able to get therapy sessions for less than $50, regardless of who they are and where they are. We're also going to have free ebooks and courses, including both the Hurting to Healing ebook and the therapy ebook I'm currently writing, live podcast episodes where you'll be able to interact with the guest and I in real time, community forums, exclusive merch, and categorized content so you can easily find information that may be useful to you. So go to expressyourselfblackman.com/therapy and register for early access. It's literally a 30-second process. I just need your name, email, and social media handle to make sure you get access before anyone else. And before I dip, I just want to thank you for your support. Without people like you, none of this would be possible. I can't wait to see you when we launch.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for.